Now, rescuers in Kenya are still searching for survivors of the flash flood on Sunday night that killed around 50 people. Officials have warned that the number of dead could rise. Torrents of mud and water from an overflowing reservoir washed away part of a village in Mai Maihu. More than 185,000 people have been affected by flooding across Kenya in recent weeks. The Kenyan government says it's doing all it can with limited resources, but said that it would need help to repair roads, rebuild homes, resettle those displaced, and deal with food security issues.
Enough already was the fact that we are unable to travel. We are unable to cross to Nairobi or from Nairobi to our homes in northern Kenya. It was enough that we have lost businesses. It was enough that people are idle and suffering. And again, to die in these circumstances is very unfortunate.
With more on all this, let's turn to Arise East Africa correspondent Mark Bichachi. Good to see you, Mark. Give us a broad sense of the impact these flash floods have had on Kenya.
Well, the impact has been that most of the country is suffering under the deluge of the floods that are happening in northern Kenya, where you were just, which is part of Garissa going up towards Moyale. They've had a loss of infrastructure. They've had flooding. We have people missing. We have people being cut off from supply lands towards the coast. You've got places like Tana River, within which a dam has burst and has many people have been lost, including a boat that has capsized. The same is happening within actually the city of Nairobi, which is a capital city, where we've seen a few people actually die within the city, and also many estates within the city suffering flooding and water being contained. So it is a nationwide problem, having displaced over 150,000 as at last count. This number is yet to be confirmed because we're getting various reports from everywhere. This is coming at a time where also Kenya is dealing with the effects of a doctor's strike as well, and of course the resources necessary are not fully available at hand. So it is quite an issue for the Republic of Kenya.
And of course, search and rescue efforts, we're told, are continuing in the worst hit region amid fears that the numbers, as you pointed out, could rise there. I mean, how has the Kenyan government been responding to this emergency?
So the Kenyan government had set aside resources last year based on the reports of El Nino. This is much worse than it was last year. It has deployed many of its staff working with the Red Cross to try and rescue people and to try and mitigate these issues. The cabinet did meet earlier today trying to see how they can not only put funding together but also seek aid from across the board. The governors of various counties, there we have 47 of them, are also looking for aid from the government to be able to deal with the issues that are affecting the county. So it is going to be a multi-government approach that I'm talking about, the local county governments as well as the national government. But there is a lot to be done across the country. This will take probably months, if not weeks, to be able to actually deal with, given the level of flooding and the level of loss of life, plus the level of infrastructure and housing lost through these particular disasters.
And we understand there have been calls for citizens to move away from areas of danger. I wonder if those calls are being heeded.
Well, in most of these cases, many people do not have a choice but to move, because you can literally see the deluge coming closer and closer to you if you stay put in where you are. So many of them are heeding these calls. Many children, for example, did go back home and schools have not opened. So this is a matter which Kenyans are taking seriously, except for the few odd drivers and motorbike riders who would risk riding across seemingly shallow flooded waters, and then they lose control and lose control of their vehicles, and some cases have been fatal. But in terms of movement, yes, people are moving to higher ground.
Mark, what is the meteorological service saying? Is it over or is there more to come?
Well, the Meteorological Service is predicting that the floods will continue up to mid-May, so that's 2 weeks away. There are hopes that it will end sooner, but the Meteorological Department is quite emphatic that they're expecting this particular rainfall to subside towards mid of next month, which is May of 2024.
Mark, thank you ever so much. Mark Bichachi is Arise East Africa correspondent. You were talking to me there from Kenya.